Morning.
And good morning to you, Harry Spice.
Good morning, even though you're not adding the emperor of the empire.
We don't know, and we don't want to know what empire it is that exists there. But it's so good to have you both here. It's the weekend begins now. Yeah? Are you in the mood already for the weekend? All right, then. As always, on X-Ray, we focus on trending issues. One of such for today is this one. Excess crude account. Serap CSOs flay INEC for... I beg your pardon, flays neck for $1 billion approval to fight Boko Haram. All right. So it says here the National Economic Council on Thursday asked the federal government to withdraw $1 billion from the $2.3 billion currently in the excess crude account and use it to fight insurgency in the northeast. The decision was taken at a meeting of the council presided over by Vice President Yemi Oshibajo at the presidential villa in Abuja. The council, chaired by the Vice President, had all states governors as members. Now, some civil society groups and analysts, however, faulted the move by the federal government on the basis that past allocations to defense and the anti-terrorism operations had yet to be judiciously accounted for. However, the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki disclosed the decision of NEC to State House correspondents at the end of the meeting, where he said that council members expected that the money would be spent on the purchase of security equipment, procurement of intelligence, and logistics, among others. He said the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Alhaji Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara State, announced the governor's decision at the meeting. Well, basically, that's exactly what the money is going to achieve. Like it said here, it is expected so that for them to purchase security equipment, procurement of intelligence and logistics, among other. Now, the CSOs have actually, come to disagree to some extent with this. But before we get into that, what's your reaction to the withdrawal of this amount of money, $1 billion from the crude excess crude account?
Are we talking about withdrawal or proposed withdrawal? Has it been withdrawn?
Well, maybe we should put it as proposed, but then working toward it.
Okay. Just like any right-thinking member of the society, that proposition it's wrong, it's satanic, it's unacceptable. You can't hide under security votes, to begin to demand or deplete the foreign reserve. We are governors, or the government. Actually, it's a body of indolent people, if I may use that word. We are only interested in sharing. Nobody is interested in reinvestment. Now, what is security? Security is providing the enabling environment for every Nigerian or citizen to thrive. When everybody is meaningfully engaged, you work in the issues of restiveness, insecurity, terrorism, insurgency, militancy will drastically reduce. You can't continue to invest in insecurity that you're looking for security. Who are those you are even trying to fight? Nigeria is not at war with another country. What we're facing today is age-long of negligence in terms of critical infrastructure, capital, infrastructure. This is what we're facing today. Every day when you meet, what you hear is voting into security votes. So every day you're putting money into security votes. What exactly are we doing? Are we saying that there was no budget for fighting insurgency in the 2017, appropriation? Are we saying there's not going to be another budget in the 2018 appropriation? Why should a separate money be set aside as proposed by the governors to fight insurgency? What are we talking about? It's the Northeast, the only region in Nigeria Are we talking about development in the Niger Delta? Are we talking about development in the central region of Nigeria or western region of Nigeria? We can't continue to deceive ourselves. Whoever conceived the idea, the president should actually look them in the eye and say, no, I'm not going to take this. And it's so unfortunate that it's happening right at the NEC council. So at the NEC council, you have more dominant voices. And the voices, unfortunately, are the voices of the governors. And this, as typical of them, they are always asking for money and never thinking of alternative form of governance. It's unfortunate that we're again back to the issue of, depleting our resources. It happened during the last regime, where governors insisted that the excess crude account should be shared. It was shared. And what faced us eventually is a recession that we barely survived. We were just escaping from it. Are we ready for another phase of recession when you begin to deplete what this current president has been able to save and even rise? Our foreign reserve now, it's comfortably at par with other developed countries. So why are we going back to that to that foreign reserve to begin to deplete it?
So are you saying there is no need to strengthen the fight against insurgency? Because I think that's possibly what they're trying to say, saying that, is really to just support government in the area of fighting insurgency. As, we've seen several, incidences. Sometimes we've even had instances, where military will come out and say, hey, we're actually winning the fight, but we still keep hearing people are being killed here and there, people blowing themselves up and all that. Are you saying this is really not necessary at this time? Well, yeah, I was still asking, Harry Spice, just briefly though, so that...
The war is not starting, the war is not starting new. We're talking of an ongoing war. Whether you like it or not, we are beginning to win the war. We're beginning to win the war against insurgency. So from the blues, where are we? Why are we talking about money at this point when the war is ongoing? Remember, there's a budget for it. There've been budget for, security got the largest chunk of our national budget in 2017. So we've not even exhausted that money. So what are we talking about? Boko Haram has been decimated, whether you like it or not, to a reasonable extent. So we are not at threat, even though we are at threat. Well, we're not at threat because we've pushed them to the hinterland. We've pushed them to the other side.
If I understand you, perhaps we don't need that much money for now. That's what you're saying.
I think our governors are used to sharing monies, and especially because the present administration and previous ones have been sharing monies for them. But then come to talk about it, of course, just like Harry Spice said, we have budgets for defense, and then we have budgets for this fight. But then that money is a whole lot of money. But then by the end of the day, even though we acknowledge the fact that we need money to fight Boko Haram, but then the monies that we have been pumping into that fight, what has happened to these monies? Because if you interact with the soldiers on the field, what they are telling you or what they will tell you is frightening to you. A situation where billions of monies have been allocated into that fight, and then we have on ground a soldier that is not equipped. Soldiers that go to fight with AK-45 against people that are well trained with all the military equipment. Somebody was telling me that, look, that when these guys come, they come with very sophisticated weapons, from Browning machine guns, grenade propellers, all of them. And so somebody told me, look, in the night when they're coming, they even have these night vision goggles where they penetrate, and they see soldiers. No matter how much you're hiding, they see you. And then they come prepared. Their foot soldiers have all the gadgets that they need. And then they're coming to face a military that has just one AK-47. And so the question now is that the monies that have been pumped into that fight, where has the monies gone to? We have issues where we have fictitious defense contracts, and that by the end of the day, the monies goes to beneficiaries of people in the military. Whether we like it or not, some people are benefiting from this fight. So are we going to talk about money at this point? We need to address the critical issues. The monies that were given before, what happened to those monies? And then you want to divide our foreign reserve into two. Into this, is it to enrich these people again? We've heard testimonies where soldiers, these military leaders, have properties in billions. Meanwhile, the average Nigerian soldier on the street, on the field, is dying, even of starvation. They're telling us that even the ration of food they give them is not even enough to satisfy a 10-year-old child. They're telling you that they go to the field and in a day, they have probably 3 sachets of pure water to drink. So they're not even well fed. The allowances are not given, they're divided and not given to them at the right times.
Well, maybe they are also planning to enhance all that. Like I read earlier, they said they are to purchase equipment, procure intelligence and logistics and other things that are required to finally do this. So perhaps they have also noticed where, the areas where they lack.
Who's making the demand? Is it the military that is asking for more logistic and equipment upgrade?
Well, I'm sure with time we'll get to find that out, though.
Okay.
But let's go on a commercial break at this point. We'll come back. Stay with us.
Are you looking for a stimulating working environment with exciting projects and an amazing 100,000 naira salary? For full details on how to apply, visit www.mylearningacademy.com and check the announcement page for more details. My Learning Academy, your reliable online learning educational partner. www.mylearningacademy.com.
The joy of our nation. We are the unity of our nation. We are the makers of our heritage. We X-ray topical national issues and the trending matters of our time. Examined, dissected, and analyzed. With our team of analysts, you can be sure of an incisive discourse. 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays. X-Ray on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, Abuja.
Thank you for staying with us on X-Ray, right here on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM. This morning, we are looking at the proposition, so to speak, of getting more money from the excess crude account to fund the fight against terrorism. However, on the other hand, here's what some civil societies have had to say about this. Now, some civil societies have lambasted NEC for planning to take $1 billion from the ECA to fight terrorism, noting that earlier funds expended to fight Boko Haram had yet to be accounted for. Now, the President Campaign for Democracy, Usman Abdul, said, "This is what happens when you have leaders who are not thinkers. They cannot think outside the box. We are bound to be faced with such challenges." He goes on to say, now this is in quote, "The military have come out to say that Boko Haram was technically defeated and Camp Zero was captured. I don't see then any rationale behind dipping our hands into our excess crude account. These are the proceeds of our generality, and we have other presidential sources of revenue going into the Northeast. What is the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative doing? The political leaders are rather looking for ways to steal money for the 2019 campaigns." And, in addition, the Executive Director, Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, also said he believed that past allocations to defense and the military should be accounted for before voting another huge amount for military operations. Now, these are some of their arguments on this. Do you share their view?
At this This is what we have been saying. We heard how, or we saw how the last administration, how armed deals, monies for ammunition. We saw how it ended, and when we heard the testimonies coming from the courts, how these monies were being distributed, monies that were meant to procure arms. So that's what we're saying. A military man was telling me that, look, these people use our life for money. They trade us for money. If you hear the testimonies of the boys on the field, you will weep. And then on the outside, you're hearing testimonies from courts where military men are repairing or renovating houses in billions of nairas. And the average soldier is dying on the street of starvation or die from lack of equipment. And now they said, okay, the fight is gone, fine. But then we're hearing issues where people are being killed, even still every day in the region. Military camps are being overrun by these militants. So there is a clear need for us. All right? We don't want to start saying some things, but then politicians should not use... They should not use the lives of soldiers or use our lives to get monies.
Because at this point, it brings to mind the question Harry Spice asked, and I wish I had the answer to that, but I don't. If the military will come out at some point to allay our fears and say, hey, the fight is almost won, and at the same time now we're having this request for this much amount of money, who is making the request then? Where is it going to? And how sure are we that this time around the money would be used for the purpose for which it's being asked for?
The business of war worldwide is usually like this. You have the war contractors, you have the war beneficiaries, but at the end of all of this is the common man that suffers this. The soldier is a common man. You know, the people in these ravaged war areas are also the victims of these decisions and indecision. It's so suspicious for governors to wake up from the blues and begin to vote, ask for money to fight insurgency. This is exclusively a turf of the president and his security architecture. This should come from them. The 2018 budget was presented recently to the National Assembly. What stops the military or the defense ministry from making their demands, the need to increase funding? This is December, and whether you like it or not, we're witnesses to how Boko Haram almost, upturned this nation called Nigeria. But today we sleep with our two eyes closed, and from nowhere we're hearing for more money. Money for what? Are we using security as a cover-up to bring out money from the system? These people trying to take us on a ride? I think we are too exposed to be taken for a ride. We understand the gimmicks of governance. We understand the gimmicks of trying to take money from the system. Come out to the open. You've asked for money to pay salaries they've given you. Now your interest now is the foreign reserve or the excess crude money. Are we really out of recession? The money that we've been able to save to cushion further recession attempts or influence, you are now trying to deplete it. To do what? I would have been so happy if our governors are talking of give us more money to begin to partner private persons to build industries in our states, not pumping money into the air that is not traced, that is not accounted for.
How would we get people to invest in Nigeria if we don't appear to be at peace in the country?
The narrative must be put in the right perspective. Like I said, we were all witnesses to what happened 2-3 years ago. Boko Haram has been decimated, whether we like it or not. We are soldiers. Kudos must be given to them for sacrificing their time, their lives, to have this country united as one, safe from the invasion of these insurgents. So let's not create that fear again that these people are having the upper hand just because we want to take money out of the system. Nigeria is relatively peaceful from the activities of insurgents. We are more greeted by, pockets of criminalities internally. When you talk about kidnappers, we can't travel on the roads now because of kidnappers. When you talk about, political thuggeries, when you talk about small crimes, this should be what we should be talking about. This, not redirecting attention to the northeast. We have capable hands. Remember, the president made it a cardinal goal of his administration to actually eliminate any incidents of Boko Haram, and we should give him that credit that he's almost getting there. So these people should not take us back. They shouldn't destroy the president, like what. But monies were recently appropriated or released, or contracts were given for so many things across the country. This is what we should be investing in. When you have critical infrastructure, industries, issues of insurgency, criminality will reduce. We can't continue to pump in money into the air because we want to fight war. Remember, this is not an external war. We're talking of an internal war, engineered by our indecisions over the years. Please, this people should not take us on a ride.
All right, then you can call in and share your thoughts with us on this particular matter. The number to call is 081-8999-1011. That is 081-8999-1011. It's X-Ray on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome. What's your name?
My name is Justin Muguchukwamuzi.
Okay, go ahead.
I totally agree with what my senior brother Aruna has said. Actually trying to take us together. Now, truth be told, we say in Abuja, every time Boko Haram attacks Abuja countless times, and now we've not heard of attacks close to Abuja. What is one thing? Now, most states don't have infrastructure. People are sick. Create.
Hello?
Can use $1 billion to do certain things in every single state? Like he rightly asked, our budget for 2018, military has certain allocation. Security has certain allocation. Each governors, they have their own security votes and the rest of them. So, if all those monies cannot take care of our security or take care of Boko Haram, what will their $1 billion do? I'm not even talking of Fulani X-Men.
Hello? Okay, I think you may have to call us back. There's just this interference in your call. We get a few things and we don't get many of the things you're saying. So please try and call us back, okay? 081-8999-1011.
Hello?
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. You're welcome. What's your name?
My name is Mubarak Guzara. I'm calling you from Wonderland Estate.
Okay, please go ahead.
So my advice is that no matter how if we want to take issue about the incident in the country, our governors, our chairman local government, our president, we never know that the president is doing his own. But if really our governors want to protect our life, so they must sure that they put something in law, the way that we Nigerian people will get peace of mind. But our governors, they are not ready to protect our lives. If not so, as how they will call the kill innocent people like that, and those people, they know that. Hello?
Hello? Yes?
Anything that our government is better to take action about this insurgency. And one thing I want to talk furthermore is that even if they say they attack Boko Haram, so we believe that those Boko Haram, they know the ones that they bring mutants and kill innocent people. It's better to look over all those now many things happen to this country.
Okay. I think we'll also have to let you go at this point. But thank you for your contributions so far, and keep trying. The network just keeps going on and off. 081-8999-1011. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to X-Ray. What's your name?
Thank you. My name is Abdul. I'm calling from Kneja.
Okay, go ahead.
Please, I want to appreciate those presenters there. Yeah, I really share the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, go ahead.
I said I want to appreciate your presenters there.
All right, and they said thank you.
They are good Nigerians.
Thank you, fellow
My
Nigerians.
commission is that they should ask governors to ask for unemployment in the various states.
Okay. Hello? All right, unfortunately, I cannot hear you anymore. He's talking about... Yes, I think so.
Yeah. He's talking about governors, concentrating interventions more in their states than, having interest in the central government. Every week they come to Abuja to talk about sharing formula. For goodness sake, what are these people doing? This is 2 years of governance at your level. You've not come in Kogi State. They are commissioning pumping boreholes. And they are making jamboree of it. What kind of leaders do we have? And at the center of this governance is mostly, we begin to talk about the youth. When you talk about Zamfara governor, it's a young person. When you talk about governor of Kogi, it's a young person. When you talk about governor of Cross River, it's a young person. And in the houses of assemblies are young House of Assembly members. So are the young people really ready for governance? If at this point they cannot rise up and begin to, rubbish the elders whom we've always accused of, frustrating our progress as a people in this country. If people will construct boreholes and make it a fanfare, you think that is governance?
And then put it on national TV.
Then you come to Abuja and be asking for monies what are you doing with this?
Well, sometimes when they don't do that, it's like nobody knows that they're working at.
Do you consider the provision of borehole facilities as critical governance? It's a question you put it to me. So
and then on the other side, if you are constructing these boreholes for me, for instance, we see where governors pay millions of money to show people what they have done for the people. Now, for instance, if you gave me a borehole, for instance, you need to pay millions again to show me that. It. Of course, I know. We should begin to look at the serious things. If we put our houses in order and do the right things, these incidences of militancy, robbery, kidnapping will go.
Yes.
A lot of our youths are on the streets not doing anything. And what do you expect? A lot of people have been impoverished. So what do you expect? So if we begin to tackle these things from the roots, the way they are, create an enabling environment, create job opportunities,
I think it starts
better.
from having good water
and
to
when
drink.
You engage people.
It starts from having good water to drink. If you don't have clean water, no, but seriously. But then maybe, excuse me, maybe let me say this. Perhaps what you're trying to also say is that at this point, this is not what we should be talking about. Like we would have gone past the provision of
what individuals are even
governance
for their communities and
governance is built on a work plan. That is what you call, when you design this work plan, you now allocate budgets to them, to every activities you want to do. In every state, we have ministries, line ministries responsible for certain things. I expect the commissioner of works or water, to provide water, to provide means of, water, not the governor. Yeah? When he does that, I don't expect the governor to start taking glory for it. This is not a personal favor. This is what you swore with the Holy Quran and the Bible to do. This is your work plan, approved by the State House of Assemblies. And this is what I've done. This is what I've done. At the end of the year, you give account. The CSO will also ask questions. The civil society organizations will ask questions. This is how you implemented your budget. Like the same Kogi, almost 40-something million was budgeted was spent on newspaper adverts, telling us the number of people civil servants screen. So if you have 40-something million, why can't you use it to pay salary first? These people you've paid will become your mouthpiece. They'll start telling people that, okay, we've been paid. Newspapers, how many people have access to newspaper to see what you've done? When we begin to misprioritize realities, we suffer, the shame of it. That is why we're having problem all over the country. Nobody, apart from very few states of Sokoto, Kaduna, where is it called? Lagos, and very few of them, nothing is actually happening in Nigeria. Okay. Our governors are not doing anything.
Let's get more from the listener. Hello.
Madam, I'm still with you.
Okay, what's your name?
Abdul from Suleja.
All right, Abdul, please go ahead.
Please, your president should also advise the governors that those their top leaders, they do during election when they want to get to an office, whom they procure arms and ammunition for. Let them call them to the position and please appeal to them that they should return all those arms and ammunition they bought for them during the election time. So peace will be restored in all the states. You forget about the issue of insecurity, the issue of insurgency will go gradually. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. 08189991011. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Hassan, calling from Dakwa.
All right, Hassan. We're listening to you.
Yes. You see, the problems of Nigeria is not from federal government. The problem is from the state. Because federal government used to pay them the money and then they are not used to pay their workers. So most of the time, like the governors of Kogi State, when the money is paid, it's very wrong. They are not paying the workers their salaries and are talking about that. So the money is even useless.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
This is what anger does. Yeah. Anger leads to frustration. Frustration in turn leads to crime. When you see people taking up to crimes, it's out of frustration. It's not because they are motivated to carry out crime. Nobody wants to endanger himself by being a kidnapper, by being a criminal, when everybody is meaningfully engaged.
As much as we don't want to give excuses for why some people do this.
No, we're not trying to give it. We're just saying engage these people, take their minds off vices, and the country goes on. When you go to the countries of US, the UK, these developed countries, they are battling with issues of social problems. So
what really is the difference between us and these other countries? I mean, it's not entirely the absence of them having terrorism in their countries. Some of these issues that we have around us. Why is it different, for them there? Is it a leadership thing now? Are we saying their leaders think better? Or have better policies?
It's an orientation thing. The black man thinks that where he is not his permanent place. His aspiration is to accumulate wealth and travel out. For instance, the whistleblower was paid half of his money. As we speak, he's somewhere abroad. So it's a mentality.
But shouldn't he take a vacation? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
remember they did say if they were to give him all the money, he would run mad. So perhaps he's trying to...
So why do you have to go out to go find succor in another man's land? Why can't you make your own? Why can't you take vacation in your own country? Does that mean he can go there now? He has the best necessary counselors, those who counsel him, advise him on how to spend.
Maybe
the money.
He's been everywhere here, or he doesn't want his village people
and of course, Ruth,
to locate
the
him.
The system there is quite different from what we have here. Issues of accountability we can say is better in those parts of the world, because this is a place where leaders, for instance, we've been talking about governors. Our governors get so much monies, and we cannot pinpoint and say this is what they are doing with the monies. And they're even telling us that it is their right to keep what they do with the monies to themselves. I think these things don't happen in most developed countries. Issues of accountability, issues of using state funds to develop the states. We don't have those kind of issues. Of course, I know there's corruption every part of the world, but then I think it's worse with us here. African leaders need to sit up and know that a time has come for us to change the narrative. The issues of corruption in Africa and Nigeria, if we don't handle them, then we will not go anywhere far. And it just has to start with accountability, just right from here. The monies that are given, can we ensure and follow up and see if these monies are used for the purpose for which they are meant to be used for? But as long as we cannot ask questions and we cannot get the right answers, and then we'll remain in the dark this way. The issues of poverty, especially at the grassroots, has overwhelmed everybody. All right, and 2019 is coming now. Just like someone was trying to say, these same politicians will go and acquire the arms that they need to give to these young men and women to protect them, to ensure that they retain their seats, or they remove someone else and keep themselves there, intimidate people, harass people, even assassinate people. And then by the end of the election, they go to sit down in their various capitals, and then these people don't have access to them anymore, and they'll remain poor because the small monies given to them have been used, and then they're gone. So that's how now you have a lot of young people who have been trained and grouped, vibrant militancies everywhere.
All right. Now, this money, as we speak right now, it may still, it may be disbursed at the end of the day. And we're talking about accountability now.
And that is
we
why
may not be able to stop the whole process. So when this money comes out now, what advice do you have?
Part of governance participation is what we're doing now. A proposal has been made, and we as critical members of the society were saying, no, we cannot allow this to happen. So it behoves on every other person to also join the campaign by saying, no, the budgets allocated for defense to fight insurgency, it's enough for now. Let the governors keep their expertise, advice, or demand first. Perhaps we can use that money to build rail that will connect from, Kaduna to Kano.
Do you think the voices of the people will get to them? Earlier on the show this morning, much earlier on the show, someone called in and said, hey, he's just going to greet me. He's not going to make any contribution as to what we were talking about because he believes no one is listening, nothing will change. Yeah,
when you think that like that, why you should also have it that what is the essence of working when you know that you are not even certain of tomorrow? You can't, because of situation, just resign to fate. You must make that deliberate effort to keep doing, to keep saying, so at least you don't expect everybody in government not to hear you. Like I always say, we are all in governance. When we decide to do the needful, when all citizens rise up, march to the president's office and say, Mr. President, what your governors are demanding for, we Nigerians are not part of it. We won't allow that to happen. We also take the same, demand to the National Assembly. Please do not approve this proposition by the governors. This money is outrageous. It's unaccounted. They should first of all make do with their own governance at their state level before dabbling into the federal government. Tough. We know security is it's a concurrent provision of government, but for now we're talking about real intervention by the military. They should allow the Ministry of Defense to actually handle that. So that person who is resigning to fate, I think it's too early to resign to fate. Speak until they hear you. Remember, you are also part of governance.
And then if you don't speak, it's also an act of unpatriotism.
Yes, it's also
Because-
corruption.
Yes, it's also corruption. So you have to speak. Things will get better. It's only when we sit back and said, well, there's nothing we can do. That's when nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Things will get better.
It's like giving impetus to these leaders. After all, the citizens are docile. They're not going to
And then
say
they continue
anything.
to do what they are doing.
So they'll now play you like 10-10. Speak out, and they'll hear you. Governance, it's all about rising up, saying no to what you think does not benefit humanity, and not saying, okay, this one on my own, make it go do pass. And again, we mustn't wait for 2019 to make decisions of governance. Election is just a process, just part of governance. When we all keep our arsenals waiting for 2019, we miss the issues. The monies given before now should be accounted for. Don't wait that, okay, we'll change this person. You do not have that power of changing per se. Your vote is just one. Begin to speak now. The money budgeted for Lagos-Ibadan Road, what has happened? The money given to states, what has happened? These are what we should be talking about, not waiting for 2019 during the election. That is when we're active citizens. Citizenship is all about doing what we think is right every day.
All right. Thank you very much for being on X-Ray today. And that closes it for this week's edition completely. And many thanks to the callers as well, and to every other person who listened in. We'll do this come next Monday. In the meantime, stay with us on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. I'll be back at 10 on Pro Bono Chambers.